So, is it going? Yeah, it is.
Yep.
Wow, I'll just split screen this, and then it'll be like that.
Alrighty.
God, we're not doing a second take, though. Fuck that.
Alright, welcome back, everyone, to week 2 of Xavier and I's Media Podcast, where we discuss movies, TV, video games, and basically anything media-related. Last week, we gave our thoughts on Season 2 of Daredevil, so if you're interested in our thoughts, go ahead and give that a listen. That's been put up on YouTube, SoundCloud. This week, after some careful deliberation, we decided to give our thoughts on Zack Snyder's Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. It's the second entry in the DC Comics extended universe, and it's starring Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, Gal Gadot, and lots of others. There are a lot of people in this movie. Just a fair warning moving forward. We're going to be discussing a lot of spoiler-heavy material, so basically err on the side of caution if you're going to be listening any further. Our setup this week is that I will ask Xavier some guiding questions, and he's going to give his honest answers. And if I feel strongly about something or feel like anything's been omitted, I'll kind of just chime in as needed.
All right, so we also decided that we would just say how much we know about Batman as well in the beginning, too. So you have, like, a basis of our knowledge. So I know, like, Batman from a number of different sources. There's, like, I know him from the New 52... Batman graphic novels, but also everybody knows Frank Miller's, like, The Dark Knight Returns, so that's probably the most famous one. But I guess there's also the video games that count for the lore, and I don't know what else, but, like, my favorite Batman graphic novel is Court of Owls, because it's like the whole, like, conspiracy surrounding the rich, or, like, the plutocrats of Gotham, and then also Talon is, like, also a sick character as well, a sick villain. My favorite, like, Batman animated film is definitely Son of Batman, because you get to see like Talia al Ghul, and then Batman has a son.
Yeah.
And then it's also, there's that whole, like, situation, and then I also got a little figure also with Batman on it for that. And of course, like, everyone has seen, like, the Christian Bale movies now. And I've also watched the Jim Carrey as the Riddler movies, like, was it Danny DeVito as the Penguin?
Yeah.
And, like, Schwarzenegger as...
He was Mr. Freeze.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I've watched all of those. And also, I just want to make a shout out to Isaac over in Scotland.
Yes.
Because he commented on our video. I'm pretty sure it's Isaac.
It is Isaac. I
It
looked
is?
into it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that would be really awkward if it wasn't Isaac. But it's like, hey, man, what's up?
Yeah. That's
you doing?
Mr. Bro Power on YouTube. There's one video uploaded, so if you want to check out some Ottawa waste management, then you should head over to Mr. Bro Power. Yeah, so I've also seen Batman done a number of ways, primarily through the animated series from the 90s. That was probably my first kind of foot in the door to the Batman universe. That's actually probably my favorite interpretation of the character as well. But I'm a huge fan of the Arkham games. There's some great, like, original stories and voice acting done in them, and they've also in the games adapted a lot of some of the stuff from the graphic novels and other media, which they did really well. I've read the classic Batman comic arcs, so I've read Dark Knight Returns, I've read Death in the Family, but he wasn't a character that I read super consistently, so a lot of my knowledge comes from cartoons and games. But I still think that those have really great takes on the character.
Did you ever see Batman Returns? Like, where he has, like, the future... Like, it's not Bruce Wayne. He's, like, training Terry.
Oh, that Batman Beyond.
Oh, that's what it was?
Yeah, that was a great one too.
Yeah.
That's where Bruce Wayne's older, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that one's sweet. That's another good cartoon.
And then also in, like, the video games, there was the Joker. I thought was really well played.
Yes.
And, like, Origins.
Yes.
Because that was, like, he's actually crazy. So I like that one too.
That was Mark Hamill, right?
I think
the Joker.
I think it was Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
It's either Mark Hamill, Nolan North,
Yeah.
or Troy Baker, right? It's like one of those.
Yeah.
I think it was Mark Hamill though for that.
It was Mark Hamill for the animated series. I get him confused though because in the Spider-Man animated series he was the Hobgoblin, and the voices were very similar. Like, it was almost a direct knockoff.
And then in Star Wars he was nothing. He had no lines.
He was like himself. Okay.
Just nothing.
Yeah. We are going to dive right into our analysis or our discussion, what have you, of Batman v Superman. So Xavier, what's your overall consensus on the movie? What are your thoughts overall?
So first, well, we want to do this podcast because it's like sort of hot off the press, and then also a lot of people have now the chance to go and see the movie, and then they're probably like looking for like theories or whatever. So hopefully they look at ours. But I know that there's like a lot of conflicting views about the movie. So some people love it, some people thought it was mediocre or just terrible. I thought it was actually pretty good though. Yeah. So there's. I know Mason's going to ask a question about like what I liked and didn't like later on, so I'll just like leave it for that. But overall, I thought it was a pretty good movie with like a few minor exceptions. Like the big one, I didn't really like Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor, but other than that, there was like a lot of things that I did like. What did you think?
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't think this is by any means like a perfect movie. There's definitely some flaws. Some of them are quite blatant and are kind of easy to tear apart. But I think that the critics kind of didn't really give this movie its fair due. I think that there's a lot of great stuff going on, and whereas I think a lot of it equally missed the mark, I do think that overall it's a really entertaining movie. It's a great take on Batman, and it's the first live-action Wonder Woman, and she didn't disappoint. So I definitely think that it's unfairly hated. But yeah, starting with you, Xavier, what did you like about the movie? What were some of the things that were positive?
So I made a huge list of all the things that I did like. So first of all, there's the shout-outs to the other Justice League members. There's like little clips of Aquaman, Cyborg, and the Flash, but there's like a pretty big cameo of Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
So I like that. So they're like sort of setting up the movies, but how they presented the different Justice League of America characters were a little strange. Like if you saw the movie, it's like you said, it's like literally like a little clip sent through an email. It's sort of like looking at a little like YouTube video of like 15 seconds. It was like a Vine basically.
Yeah.
Of the different ones. Okay. But my favorite scene in in the whole movie was Batman in the warehouse, and he was just shrekking through everybody. It was amazing because he was so OP. He's like throwing people around, taking them down, like suplexing them, just grabbing them, taking shots, and then just delivering even harder ones. So I'd love to see that. Just like that's what you expect in a comic book movie. I know you were like about to say something, like after I said like how they were presented.
Oh right.
Did you have anything to say?
Oh yeah, no, it's just I'm torn on the Justice League cameos because I thought that the clips we saw were really well shot and it was like awesome to see like a live action Aquaman, but I just have a problem with like in principle the fact that it was clips in an email file. Like two of those characters we've never seen live action, Cyborg and Aquaman, and I thought it was kind of it was sloppy writing to have Wonder Woman like open an email and like she's scrolling through it all dramatically, one sentence at a time, and it's like number one, you would have just gotten the whole thing. So like let's just get right into it. But yeah, I'm torn on that. I did like getting to see them, but I think it could have been done better than an email file. But anyways, yeah.
So I also liked how Superman was also not like the perfect being. Like prior to like these movies, like also Man of Steel, he was also not the perfect being. Like he kills General Zod, right? And he's never supposed to kill anybody. But now he's seen as more human, which is what I also like. I also liked to accompany that they've had the darkness of the movie. Like in Man of Steel, they like changed the tone and like the hues of the whole movie and how it's like a darker theme and it's more realistic. And then it's also like sort of the trend now because like Captain America is also going darker, and they're also making it more realistic. And fourth, or is it fifth? I don't know. However many. Doomsday was also well depicted. I really liked his as they continued to like fire nukes at him and to damage him. He actually kept on growing stronger and stronger. He was extremely powerful. I like that. But I didn't like how short he was in the movie. I thought.
Yeah, I would say that
because they were cramming too much.
They were
because there was so much going on.
Yeah, one of the main criticisms is about Doomsday and how he literally just kind of shows up at the end and he's something for everyone to punch, which like fair enough. I will give people that, but at least they did Doomsday justice. Like he wasn't this weak kind of like punching bag for everyone. Like they really did get his power level right and everything from like the bone protrusions and the regeneration. Like they at least gave us a fair take on a pretty important character. So
yeah, and then also in the comics, Doomsday does kill Superman too.
He does.
So,
yeah,
that was also really good.
Yeah,
and okay, I also liked there's a bunch of little like Easter eggs and throughout the whole movie.
Oh yeah.
So I have like a massive list of possible theories, but Okay, so the first thing that I noticed was during Lex Luthor, when Senator Finch goes to visit him, and there's that painting of the devils versus the harpies. So the first time I watched it, I thought that it was possible there was a shout out to Hawkgirl, and then the second time I watched it, because I went to go see it again, there's definitely wearing the mask, so it's like that sort of like goldish bronze color on one side, and then has the black. So it definitely looks like Hawkgirl could be coming in too, even though they don't have. Actually, it'd be pretty hard to have like the email file in it too, because she's on another planet. So it is possible. So maybe that was their shout out to her.
Yeah.
And then there's also a definite Darkseid shout out with the Omega symbol.
Oh yeah.
It's like there's like during that nightmare scene, that's what everyone's calling it, right? There's like that massive Omega symbol. I didn't see it the first time, and then you guys pointed it out, and then also, but yeah, there's also like Darkseid's like little minions.
Yeah.
Those creatures. So I thought, okay, Darkseid was a possibility, and then also it's like it has to be like either Darkseid or Brainiac. Like, it has to be one of those two if you have the whole Justice League, basically.
Yeah, well, you had, and I can let you explain it, but you had an interesting theory when we saw it in our first viewing. You had an interesting theory about Brainiac and how Lex Luthor, at the end, when he was in the prison, might actually be calling out to him. Do you want to explain that a little better?
So, Lex Luthor, in the very end, he says that he's talking to Batman. He's like, oh, the bell's already rung. And then that a being from the stars was hungry, and now that they're coming. So Apocalypse is a planet, so that's technically from the stars. And also Darkseid also had a major shout out, but Darkseid isn't like necessarily hungry. He isn't like hungry for like knowledge like Brainiac. And then but Darkseid might be hungry for like just destruction, because that's just him. And his planet is named Apocalypse. So there's that. But Brainiac is the one who goes around to all the different worlds, gathering information, collecting their like main cities. Because he has like that miniature version of Kandor from Krypton, but he has all the. But that's so that could be like also a throwback to Man of Steel, but he's the one who's hungry. So I thought it's possible, but everything else points to Darkseid.
Yeah, I like that, because I like that there's the potential it could be either or, and Justice League has just started filming, but we don't know much yet, so there's still the potential for, you know, if they want to save Darkseid for later, or even Brainiac for later, they do have this, they're in this really good position where they can kind of pick or choose who they want to go with, but
it could also be like someone else too.
It could, yeah.
I was reading like an interview that Zack Snyder was doing. He said it might be Batmite, which I didn't even know who that was. Yeah, so I had to like look him up and everything, and it's just some guy who can change realities.
Okay.
That's his power.
That's
so
neat.
It's like, but he's from the Batman universe too, which is kind of weird. But I wouldn't know why they would go with that. But it could be like they're pointing all these signs and they're like, nah, we're not doing that.
Yeah, they leave the door open, which is a good thing, I think, because there's a lot that they can pull from and go with.
Yeah, it's not like the Marvel endings where you saw Thanatos, right? No, Thanos, sorry. Oh my god. You saw
Thanatos.
Yeah. You saw Thanos at the end of the Avengers, right?
Yeah.
So there was that. But also, I think it might be like the whole Bizarro team. Because because that would be enough people too to like have an epic battle between them.
There was actually, now that you mentioned Bizarro, when the clip got released online, do you remember the clip that got put up when Superman unmasks Batman in this movie, and we were given like no context to it?
Yeah.
There were people theorizing that was Bizarro and that they were going to introduce him in the movie. But I think that would be interesting, because there were some definite like shout outs to Injustice in this movie, the game, with like the whole Superman has his soldiers with the crest on their arm. So again, Bizarro is another potential villain. Like it's pretty clearly, I think, Darkseid. But again, the door's totally open to people like Bizarro.
And then also, so Bruce Wayne has like some sort of like dream where he's at his mother's tomb. So when he's at Martha's tomb, I first thought that when the creature came out that was like an owl, and I immediately thought Court of Owls, because also, like, I don't know, they weren't his parents were not part of the Court of Owls, but I thought it was like something associated with that until there was that whole nightmare scene, and then I thought, okay, it must be Darkseid's minions too, but I don't know, that's just another thing. And then also there was like the perfect setup for the Wonder Woman movie, because like how else would you really introduce it? Because it'd be hard, because it'll be like from World War II, right? Mm-hmm. Like you would have to have it in a YouTube clip or a documentary film or something, but instead there's just the photo. Yeah. And there's like Chris Pine right beside her. And
right.
So that was cool. And then also, I really like Flash's time travel.
That was awesome.
Because that's like sort of like a shout out to like Flashpoint.
A lot of people said that was crammed in there and it derailed the main plot. I don't really think so. I think that by calling it Dawn of Justice, you should be prepared going in that there are going to be cameos and appearances by other characters. But the fact that they addressed the fact that the Flash could time travel was great, because he's really the only DC character who can consistently do that. And I think it's important to understand the power level that people are dealing with here. The fact that he can go so fast that he travels back in time. And it was just cool to see.
Yeah, he has like that whole like mechanized suit that comes out.
Yeah.
I know like some people thought it was Cyborg, but it's definitely the Flash.
It is
like
definitely.
If you see it once and you think you have all these theories, if you go see it again, then you can like actually watch it and analyze all the stuff. So that was also good. I also like the Man of Death in the movie. Like it's super realistic then. So it's not just like the idealized superhero where he doesn't harm anyone, nobody ever gets hurt. And then also that's sort of the theme now too, right? With like Deadpool, like people die.
Yes.
It's a part of life, and then instead of just everyone being saved all the time, no one gets hurt.
Something I wanted to clear up was that a lot of people have problems. A lot of people I've read online have problems with the fact that Batman in this interpretation is killing people, and I think that they justified that in the movie perfectly, though subtly, with the shout out to Jason Todd. There's the scene in the Batcave where he looks over at the old Robin suit, and it's got Joker taunting spray painted on it. In that one scene, they set up that this is a post Jason Todd Batman.
It is?
It for sure is, yeah, because that Robin suit that we see has the Joker haha jokes on you spray painted on it, and that's the Robin suit that Jason Todd gets killed in. So I think what we're seeing is a take on Batman that's a lot more unhinged and a lot more of a full measure kind of character. I think he's definitely broken his no kill rule, because I think he realizes at this point that if he actually wants to stop criminals, he needs to kill them.
I think it's also assumed that he killed the Joker then, because of that.
Go ahead. I wonder though, because we're getting Joker in Suicide Squad, but people don't know if that takes place before or after Batman v Superman. Because it is in the same universe.
It is in the same universe?
It is, yeah. Because Ben Affleck is going to cameo in Suicide Squad.
Oh, it must be before.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's before. That'd be crazy then.
Yeah.
If it was after.
It would be. 'Cause I think that with Suicide Squad, they're setting it up so that we see pre-Jason Todd Joker.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. So I'm just like thinking through it now.
No, yeah.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah. It is a lot to take in, and that's one of the things about this movie is that, like, love it or hate it, like, there's so much going on that you can just think about and digest.
Yeah. And
you can change your mind just as quick as you've made it up about something. But, anyways, moving right along, what did you not like?
All right. So there was definitely, like, too much going on at once. They were trying to fit so many things. I guarantee that they had to cut out so much stuff that they wanted to include in there. And there was also just a lot of skipping over of a lot of points and assumptions that characters know what's going on. So, like, when Batman is just about to kill Superman, and Superman says Martha, right? So it's, like, assumed that he has, like, the full realization that everything's okay. But there's, like, no explanation. And they had to probably do that because, like, they had so much to cram into the movie.
Yeah.
Because you have, like, the whole development of Lex Luthor's character.
Yeah.
And then you have the Kryptonite. And then you have Batman going crazy, and then you have the confrontation, and then after all of that, there's also Doomsday to come along. So there's just so much going on. You have to introduce Flash, Cyborg, Aquaman, and all of that. There's just so much happening in the movie that was crazy. So it's like, it's really hard to try to fit all of that in, and then also keep it interesting at the same time. There were some, like, lulls in the movie, but then there's also some crazy intense parts. But that's, like, my biggest criticism of it. Yeah, and then you said the best. So, like, they're sort of just introduced by an email.
And it's not that that's a... Well, it is that it's a bad way to do it. There were so many other ways that they could have done it. But, again, what I'm conflicted about is that I did get to see live-action Justice League, which, like, I can't really complain about because that's still awesome. But, like, an email? Seriously? You're going to introduce three of the Justice League members in an attachment? Yeah. I don't know. It's ridiculous to me, I think.
Yeah, and you have, like, Khal Drogo just swimming around awkwardly.
He was really awkward, yeah. At first, when
his, like, eyes, and then he's he's like squinting the whole time. Then he stabs it. He like doesn't know what to do or anything.
You know what was most awkward for me about that was that he looked like he was having a hard time swimming underwater, which is hilarious because he's Aquaman and he lives underwater, and he looked like he was struggling to
like breathe and stuff. Yeah.
My first time viewing it, I was really excited to just see a live action Aquaman. But my second time, I kind of gave it some thought, and I was like, that was really awkward. Like, at least the Flash and Cyborg had something to do, and we were at least getting introduced to them.
I really like Cyborg's introduction, because, like, the Flash, they could have done, like, any sort of scene.
Yeah,
like, because it doesn't have to be just, like, a convenience store. It's like, oh, I got some milk.
Yeah.
Right? But then Cyborg scene, that's basically how you have to do Cyborg.
Yeah.
Because unless you have, like, his accident or something, and then a cutaway.
Right.
But another thing I didn't like of it was Jesse, like I said before, was Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. I know it's supposed to be like before he becomes like the real Lex Luthor, because then they shaved his head and everything. But I didn't like the way that he played him, because Lex Luthor is super confident, right? He's always on a mission. He knows what he's doing. He doesn't stutter. He knows what he's going to say, and he just says it the way he feels it. So, and he's like fucking genius, right? So then I really wanted them to have him run for president or something like that, because that would be cool. And then that would tie into the Flashpoint one too.
Okay.
Good.
Okay.
You said she made so many.
She made over 100. That's why.
Are you like making them for something?
No, just for everyone, like friends.
That's so nice.
She's an angel, right?
Yeah.
All right, this is completely changed.
It has. Okay, so you were talking about Eisenberg as Lex Luthor?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I also thought that just like overall there were some really illogical actions occurring, just like how Superman could have just not confronted Batman the whole time, just stayed above the sky, just talked to him instead of having the whole duel scene, right? If he really wanted to. So it's just.
Yeah, we're recording actually.
Yeah, we're recording a podcast right now. That's fine. I don't care.
It's okay. We really don't mind. Enjoy the cookies. Okay, so you said... So I was going to clear up something about the Lex Luthor debacle, because I feel like they had to have a character like this in the movie, because otherwise if we got the like conventional Lex Luthor that we all really like, this would have been like such a kind of like bleak and frowny movie. Like I don't mind that they made him a little quirky. I think that it added some character and some humor to the movie, but what I do agree on is that his performance is really uneven. Like it's sometimes he really does channel like Social Network Jesse Eisenberg, which is good, but other times he's just like he's literally just Jim Carrey playing Lex Luthor, which is what people compare him to, and I think that's right. Like there are some times where he just totally goes off the wall, and it's like there's no refinement there. He's just acting crazy, and I didn't like that. But I thought it was maybe okay to make him a little quirky, because you know everyone in this movie is just so like grim and stoic all the time, and I think there needed to be a character with a little more color.
All right.
You know,
I still don't like it.
Right, and like I think everyone's totally justified in that. But imagine if they added those same quirks to like Batman or Superman. Like people would be pissed.
Yeah, there'd be a riot. Lex
was the safest character I think to do that to, even though he's well established. I don't know. I think there just needed to be a little bit of lightness, if that's the right word.
I thought like Alfred was enough of the comic relief, and then you would just have just straight.
Yeah. Just
like to the point.
Yeah. Maybe I'm too caught up in wanting to like the movie. Oh well. Anyways, was there anything else? So what was your favorite all-time moment? Because I said mine was like the Batman warehouse scene. Yes. So what was yours? Okay. I'm gonna pick a different one, because that probably would be mine because it was awesome. But I'll pick a different one, and for me, it would probably have to be the scene where it happens really early in the movie, but they're intercutting a lot of like news segments and news interviews about Superman that are being done by professionals, and like Neil deGrasse Tyson I think does one, but like we have that intercut with like a lot of like religious kind of imagery of Superman, and I just thought that the score that they played over that track and how it was really kind of painting him in this gray light was really well done, because there's that scene where there's those people on top of the house in the flood.
Yeah.
They've like drawn the Superman logo, and he's like flying above them, and it's all kind of like Christ has risen kind of imagery. So I think that montage really established how some people think he does really good things, but there are other people who are totally upset that he's just going unchecked.
Yeah.
So that I think was another great scene, without obviously notwithstanding the warehouse, because that was a great introduction to Batman.
All right. And then, which was your favorite Justice League shout out?
At first, I was just so excited to see a cool Aquaman that I would say it was him, but when I saw it the second time, I kind of got to see it with a more critical eye, and I didn't like it as much. So I'm going to go with The Flash, just based on the fact that when he ran by the camera, he went so fast that he created like an electrical current that actually short-circuited the camera.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like Cyborgs a lot too, because it's like his dad is trying to save him and all of that. So that was nice. And then also, I don't know the exact material that it's called. Do you know what it is?
The stuff that like makes
That
his...
like binds to him,
Yeah, no, I don't know what it's called, but I know that is drawn from like the source material, like that is canon.
Yeah.
And I know that Star Labs creates it, but I don't know what it's called, and that's gonna
Shucks.
be...
Oh well. I thought that was really cool though.
Did you? Yeah, it was.
Because I think out of all of those, Cyborg is the least known
He is.
of
Yeah.
like all the Justice League members. And I don't know if they're going to have like Green Lantern just chill come in one day because it's like in his sector, right? It could be like Jon
Ooh,
Stewart or
yeah.
Hal Jordan.
Okay. Yeah, I don't
He
know.
could just come in one day.
Yeah, what I like is that I think the DC movies are going to be a lot more fluid than the Marvel movies, and it's not going to be totally out of bounds for them to show up in each other's movies. And I think that would be really interesting, because Cyborg is totally just like, he's really versatile, right? Like even in the comic books, like he shows
like
up.
Teen Titans.
Yeah.
So he's like everywhere.
Yeah, I'd actually be excited to see him in a Jon Stewart Green Lantern movie.
All right, and then also I was just wondering, so would you want to see like so in the Justice League of America TV show, Bruce Wayne funds a huge satellite to circle the Earth, right?
The
tower.
Yeah, the Watchtower.
Yeah. So would you want to see that?
I would love to see that, and part of the reason is because one of my favorite DC characters, the Martian Manhunter, is the one who mans the Watchtower. So if we're getting Watchtower, that means we're getting the Martian Manhunter, and he is badass. He is a great character. But yeah, and that would also just be something kind of different. It would be cool to see. It would make a great like action set piece too, right? Like just a floating thing in space. That's like the 12-year-old in me that just wants to see people punch each other in space.
What if this is John Jones, right?
Yeah,
What if
yeah.
he comes from because it's from the stars. Now I'm thinking it's him that could also come in because it's also from. But no, we would need to have like a Mars mission to go and open him up for him to come here.
If you go with original Martian Manhunter, if you want to stick to New 52 Martian Manhunter, then he's already on Earth in his human form, hunting other.
Yeah, but which one are they going to go with?
I don't know, because in this movie
there's like a mixture.
There is, yeah. Like this is totally New 52 Aquaman, but we got classic Batman.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's totally up for grabs. But I would want to see a Watchtower to answer the question totally, because that definitely means we would get Manhunter.
I didn't even remember him. I was thinking of like Hawkgirl and all of that, and
he's like classic Justice League too.
Yeah.
Like he's a big name. Like he has to be part of the lineup.
Yeah, I have his like freaking action figure too. That's sad.
He's really cool. I like him a lot.
So I just want to end on a little note. So my expectations for this movie were like really, really low, which I find that helps a lot. So if you don't go into a movie like expecting like the most amazing thing, which is what I think people expected, right? They're like, oh, Batman versus Superman, all this hype was surrounding it, and they go in and then it's like it doesn't match their expectations. They think it's terrible. So I expected something that was really was going to be like almost near to complete shit, but it wasn't. So I was happily surprised. Same thing happened with Godzilla. I thought Godzilla was going to be one of the worst movies of all time, but
And it was.
but like my expectations were so low that it was like, oh, it wasn't the worst movie of all time, so now it's okay.
Okay.
But yeah, that's just my last little thing there.
Yeah. Okay. So, on that note, we were originally actually going to do our historical podcast this week, but it's exam time for us, and we're not going to be doing any extra research on top of the studying we have to do, so that's why we went with our media one instead. Hopefully next week we can get out the history podcast. Our topic for that one, on the same note, is Columbus, 1492, and the emergence of early modern globalization. We don't really know the structure for that one quite yet, but we'll think of something and we'll get it recorded. Other than that, thanks for listening.